And a pleasant good day to all our listeners and viewers. And thanks for joining me at the Information Command Center right here at the studios of the Government Information Service. We are on NTN as well as on the Government of St. Lucia Facebook page and on YouTube. We are also joined by a number of our partner stations all across St. Lucia. At the Information Command Center, we strive each day to update you with relevant information and useful updates with regards to our response to COVID-19. To assist in these communication efforts, today the Government of St. Lucia launched a dedicated website for information relating to St. Lucia's COVID-19 response. This website can be accessed via www.covid19response.lc. As of today, April 8, 2020, the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in St. Lucia stands at 14. We have had 0 COVID-19 related deaths. There have been 282 COVID-19 tests, and at present, there are 34 persons in quarantine and 25 in isolation. On Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, the Government of St. Lucia relaxed the 24-hour curfew to allow persons the opportunity to purchase items of food, medication, petrol, cooking gas, to access banking services, as well as other scaled-down services. Initially, supermarkets, mini-marts, and small shops were allowed to remain open until 3 p.m. However, this was later reviewed, and on Wednesday, April 7th, and Thursday, April 8th, and Saturday, April 10th, shops and mini-marts are allowed to remain open until 6 p.m. Supermarkets will also be open on Easter Sunday until 2 p.m. and Easter Monday until 4 p.m. Please be advised that there will be no sale of alcohol on these days. The public is also being reminded that the curfew will remain in place on those days from 7 p.m. until 5 a.m. each day. However, on Friday, April 9th, which is Good Friday, a 24-hour curfew is in place and persons are to remain indoors. Additionally, on Easter Sunday and Easter Monday, although these days are typically celebrated by churchgoers and beach gatherings, all of these have been suspended until further notice in light of St. Lucia's social distancing protocols. In other words, church members will not be allowed to congregate at their various places of worship, neither will any public activities be allowed, including beach parties, river limes, sporting events, or any such gatherings. The general public is therefore asked to take heed. The 2 zones, north and south, will also remain in effect. We are to be mindful to continue wearing a mask when in public, to practice social distancing in and outside of shops, and only shuttles to and from community shops, will be allowed. Only 2 persons are being allowed in a vehicle within these zones, and persons are encouraged to purchase at the nearest community shops or mini-marts. I need to also mention that the long-awaited announcement of the social stabilization plan took place last night, and among other things, the plan will give unemployment relief to persons who have lost their jobs as a result of this global pandemic. The NIC is expected to provide 3 months of subsistence allowance ranging between EC $500 to EC $1,500 from April to June in the first instance. There is also an allowance being made for persons who are self-employed, taxi drivers, vendors, small business persons, persons involved in the creative industry sector, and others displaced through the loss of employment and income as a result of COVID-19. This will be to the tune of $16.8 million. There will also be an extension of corporate tax, installment payments, extension of filing of income tax returns, a waiver of interest and penalties on all tax types for March, tax credits for companies retaining at least 30% of staff, a moratorium on bank loan repayments, among other things. For more information, you may wish to visit the Government of St. Lucia Facebook page and website for more details on these packages. We'll now take a break for a very special announcement, but when we come back, we are joined by a representative from one of the many good corporate citizens who have been rising to the occasion and assisting the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and by extension, the government in our time of need.
This Sunday, April 12th, Easter Sunday, we're going to be having a telethon to be able to recognize the valiant efforts of our frontliners, doctors and nurses and customs officers and policemen, firemen, ambulance drivers, stevedores, all the workers at the restaurants and at the grocery stores, all these people who are putting their lives at risk for us, in order for us to be able to make it through the devastating effect of COVID-19. I'm asking all of us to do what the rest of the world has done, to come out and applaud and support these frontliners. We are obviously looking to raise monies to be able to help them and also to be able to feed the more vulnerable people in our society. Government is playing its part on both of those initiatives. This is an opportunity for corporate businesses and individuals, and for you to be able to show your appreciation. It doesn't have to be money. It can just be a great story of what somebody did to help you. It can be a prayer. But let us all come together and continue to give them the strength and the recognition they so much deserve. I'll see you Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 12th.
And a reminder that you could join us live on NTN for this telethon on Easter Sunday. And I'd just like to repeat the website, which was launched today, a website dedicated to information related to St. Lucia's COVID-19 response. And you can go on to www.covid19response.lc for all of your reliable and updated information. Visit that special website. I did mention early on that we have a very special guest in studio with us, and she is none other than Mrs. Donna Hinkson. She's the head of sales with Sagicor Life EC Inc., St. Lucia. And Sagicor is providing financial support to the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the purchase of PPE for medical personnel and others for the COVID-19 crisis. So we'll discuss that in a bit, but let me just ask Donna how she's been coping with the lockdown and working from home scenario. Welcome, Donna.
Well, thank you, Tony.
I hope I could call you Donna.
Yes,
informal. Mrs. Hinkson, which one do you
No,
prefer?
Donna. Donna is good.
Yes, but how have you been coping?
Good evening, St. Lucia. How I've been coping? Well, I have been indoors. I have been observing all the protocols. Mm-hmm. I have been trying to exercise to stay sane. I have been working a lot.
Yes.
The thing about my company is that even if we don't have a physical presence in that we are, shut down and observing all the protocols, we are continuing to be of service to the community. So I have been doing a lot of that, a lot of meetings. I have been just home and watching the news and trying to stay focused on this ever-changing COVID-19 situation.
Mm-hmm. And I have to mention here that your company is very much practicing the whole social distancing, because just to have this interview here today, we went through back and forth for about a whole week. I mean, I had to ensure them that we were practicing, all the measures were in place, the sanitizing of our studios. They're very much concerned for you being here. So I must say that is a very remarkable thing.
That is the spirit of Sagicor.
Okay, so let's just get into the meat of things now. I could only imagine that Sagicor has been working really hard since the very first announcement of the changes as a result of the whole COVID-19 pandemic. Tell me, what are some of Sagicor's business continuity measures at this time?
Okay, first let me say a little bit about Sagicor, for those of you out there who still don't know all that you should know about this great company. Sagicor is a leading financial service provider in the Caribbean. We are about 180 years of history and going strong. We have a growing presence in the United States. So we've been around about since 1840, thereabout. Altogether, Sagicor Life has about 4,500 employees, and we offer a wide range of products and services, including life and health insurance. We're talking about general insurance. We do banking, pension, annuities, and real estate. So in a little nutshell, that is a little bit about us.
Okay.
So prior to this whole COVID health pandemic situation, of course, Sagicor is a very proactive company. We always keep our ears on the ground. Our communication system is a very efficient one. So even prior to the shutdown of the country, we had already raised our business continuity plan because we had been looking at ways for outfitting our staff so that they could start working from home.
Okay.
We had already been taking all the steps internally to observe all the protocols, like the wiping, the washing of the hands. We've been really educating our staff. And we did a lot of that. But what we really did, even a week before, we operated a very lean production. Most of the staff went home. We were really concerned with the critical process of claim processing for our customers, premium payments, having a window so that customers can call us, customers can make inquiries, customers can still get a service, sort of seamless service up on the front end. So that's one of the things we did even prior to that. So by the time the whole COVID came on in a big way, we had already engaged our critical vendors to minimize the disruption, especially with our supply chain. And of course, like I said, our internal and both our external communication plans were elevated to make sure that we provide timely and accurate information to stakeholders. Another thing we did was to, of course, we have a multi-level action plan, 4 levels, 1 to 4, to ensure readiness for any eventuality, not just COVID, this is, but we are always ready for unforeseen situations. Level 4 being the highest. And level 4 concerns the notification of a declaration of national emergency, like in this case, the shutdown. And it was actually activated because that actually happened. So by the time that we closed down on March 30th, we pretty much had a system in place for business to continue. And we're doing this in a lot of virtual ways. A lot of online, which I will come to, a lot of online services, but we have, we are outfitted with a good payment system. We are outfitted with a good communication system, even within the team. And we are just ready for this.
Okay. You heard me mention earlier on about, packages being offered to persons who have been displaced because of COVID-19. And seeing all this happening worldwide, I'm sure your own staff express some form of anxiety. What are you doing as an organization to help them cope while carrying on business?
Okay, in St. Lucia, branch in particular, I would talk about St. Lucia, even if I talk about the wider Caribbean. Like I said, we had outfitted our team to work from home. So that was one way of keeping them safe. And we also, we stay connected in a number of ways. So for example, our CEO is a big promoter of social media technologies. Great promoter. So we have, sometimes I feel like I'm at work. We have meetings from our regional head. We have meetings at the teams level. We have meeting at the branch level. And we even have meeting at the wider Caribbean. Just this week, we already had 2 town hall meetings with our senior executive, Mr. Ravi Rambaran, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Sagicor Finance Company Limited. So he really wants to talk to every single person. So you imagine all these people in on a meeting twice per week, listening to his voice, seeing his face. Our CEO for the Eastern Caribbean and the team, Mr. Austin, they stay in tune. So we are always talking to each other. We also have a system where we encourage our staff to exercise, you know, do the little things, balance the work life, you know, see the little beauty around you and the little things around your home. Walk around, get a little bit of sunshine, vitamin D, you know. We know that this is stress, so we also encourage our team to utilize our counseling and support system if you think that you really need that help. But generally, I think conversations, staying in contact, being your brother's keeper, and at Sagicor, we don't feel like we are management and staff. We come together, we have an online website where every single person at Sagicor, it doesn't matter who you are, is in that WhatsApp platform. We laugh, we have little competition, we tease each other. So we are really being human about this on that side, while we are really taking it serious from a business perspective.
Okay. What are some tips that you may have just for the general public as far as, you know, sound advice where insurance is concerned? What can they do in this, what I may call downtime while they're at home with regards to their insurance policies or just general financial planning?
Well, Sagicor, we like I said, we are big with online platforms. So they can go online. We have several platforms that they can go online, and we even have things that you can do. We have things that your kids can do. We kind of, you know, mix the pleasure and the business side, and we keep you posted like that. So those are some of the things we encourage. But I would say on a personal note, to the public out there, this is time for you to go through your drawers. All those papers, all those old passbooks, bank passbooks that you have. Know your insurance policy. You have them stuck in a drawer. You never open them. This is a good time. Find some time. See, your policy is your wealth. It's part of your wealth creation. It's part of what you invest in. You need to know what you have. Try to go through some of those terms and make sure that the beneficiary, for example, that you have on your policy is the beneficiary you really want there. Because sometimes things happen in life and we never remember to go in and change those important things. Life, you know, throws us a lot of curved balls, and we never realize that there are some things sitting in this. So I think this is a good time. Make a project of it. Go through those little things, see what it is that you want, start to plan. It's even a good time to call your advisor. You may not have the money, you may be one of those people who are laid off, but there's nothing wrong with planning. Planning is futuristic. Everything won't remain the same. We know that because we see things change every day. So it's also a really good time for you to maybe call up your advisor, call up your priest, call up your banker, call somebody up and sort things out. Find some solace in this whole situation. And that's what I would say that, you know, you can really use that time to do. But check those policies, know what you have, call your advisors. Make sure they are what they are supposed to be.
Now, in all of this, there are the vulnerable among us, and this is quite difficult for them at this time. But I know Sagicor's vision speaks to improving the lives of those in the community, and you may have some plans for those. Talk to us a little bit about how Sagicor has been working in our community to assist in ensuring that we get through this crisis.
Well, we've been doing a number of things. We started with our contribution of $1 million. That's at the bigger Sagicor level, Sagicor Finance Company Limited. We donated $1 million early up in this game to support the containment and response effort across the region. So that would include our sister islands like Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Belize, and the Eastern Caribbean. So we did that. So very early in the fight, we were there.
We'll get into a little bit more about what you are doing, but we have online with us, coincidentally, from the OECS, Dr. Carlene Radix. She's the head of health at the OECS Commission, and I know very early on there was a contribution directly to the OECS. So let me just welcome Dr. Radix. Good day.
Hello, good day. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and we have in studio with us Dr. Radix, Donna Hinkson from Sagicor Life, and we were just talking about the contribution that was made at a regional level to the OECS by Sagicor. Could you speak to that a little?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nice to be with you. Our partner in this COVID crisis, Sagicor, has been a partner, and as she has been discussing on the wider Caribbean level, and certainly with us in the Eastern Caribbean, starting with donations towards infrared thermal thermometers, and then a further amount donated towards laboratory testing supplies for the Eastern Caribbean region. So Sagicor has been a very valuable partner for us in this response.
Okay, well, tell me, what is the status, just to switch gears a little here, what is the status of the diplomatic corps of the OECS operating in places like the United States, UK, Europe, and elsewhere?
Okay, this is a very good question. As persons may know, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States has several offices outside of the Eastern Caribbean. Within the Eastern Caribbean, our main headquarters are in St. Lucia, and we have a significant office in Dominica, Sister Isle. And so within the region, the majority of our staff, but we do have smaller diplomatic missions, one in Canada, in Toronto. We have one in Brussels, one in Geneva, and most recently an office in Morocco. So all of these personnel or persons from our Eastern Caribbean region within those offices are experiencing, as you might imagine, quite different circumstances where they are. All of our overseas offices have been working from home significantly longer than we have been here in the region as this has unfolded. Certainly where relevant, they have also been looking after our communities in the region, where there may be student communities related to our missions, as well as working communities in Canada. There is the farm workers that go through that office. And so ensuring and taking care of those communities early on and making sure whatever arrangements need to be made for where those persons, if they had to return home or if they had to stay where they were, certainly they've been doing those things. They've also been reaching out to the communities in terms of partnerships and donations towards the fight against COVID-19 from where they sit, but also they've been taking care of themselves. As has been discussed from a Sagicor point of view, the OECS has, and our Director General is equally a lover of technology, and we're well set up. They're well set up and have been supported from our IT teams to be working from home and to be able to continue from where they are. Of course, we recognize the increased risks associated with the rates and spread of disease where they are. They're taking every precaution. We are in touch with them, and just like our general diaspora, I'm sure we all know persons that are at places that are currently the epicenter of this pandemic. The Caribbean diaspora is wide, the Eastern Caribbean diaspora is wide, and so keeping our community together and linked is part of what we're doing.
You mentioned a little about working from home, but could you just elaborate? For example, how has the Commission been adapting to the whole social distancing protocols, working from home, and being able to host your regular meetings?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Remember that the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States is made up of 11 member states, which are all islands. So even having meetings, we had already had a thrust, and so I combine that with all of our overseas missions. We already had a thrust of doing more virtual meetings as a cost savings measure, rather than having to have everyone meet face-to-face in an island. we're able to do much more by being able to use the electronic platform. So we've become very familiar using those platforms to engage our various sectors and our various sector teams and groups. And so it was very easy to just step that up now in the process of working from home. So instead of maybe having the team coming from the conference room in one spot, we have every individual coming in from their computers. We had already stepped up in terms of moving away from having desktops at work and having persons have laptops that they can take home and during travel be able to access and work from wherever. So a lot of the infrastructure was already in place, and so it was just a matter of ramping up in the process of COVID-19.
Okay, good. In the present scenario, what is the broader mandate of the OECS Commission in its response to sectors like the education sector and food security, for example?
So the broader mandate, and it is our continued mandate, it is our mandate. We are about one community. Our usual tagline is one community growing together. So it really is about what can we do collectively, and what can we do collectively that brings something better to our citizens than can be done individually in terms of member states, and it's about that community. And so we already have in place certain strategies, for example, an education sector strategy that we've been working on for several years that looks at education across the OECS region, as well as strategies to build the use of electronic platforms and media through education and as teaching tools, even in terms of creating communities for teachers, etc. So I can speak to the same around many of the different areas that we have in the community. So really, at this point in time, our role is to support to ramp up that effort. Of course, the first place of ramping up effort is in health and supplies. I think I mentioned last week we have always had a pooled procurement of supplies, and now more than ever, making sure that we leverage our partners and our relationships to make sure that we can, and our economies of scale, doing it together to make sure that we can have what we need to respond. And also having that community to look at how best practices, what's happening around the region, and how we can learn from each other as this thing unfolds. But specifically around education, and again, we've looked at the response and come up with a quick strategy for responding to COVID-19. And this is allowing us to be able to leverage, to be able to, again, mobilize funds, to be able to ensure that we continue to support the education of our children through this expected protracted time, as well as ensure. So around food security and healthy foods, we all know that we encourage interregional trade, the use of what we grow, growing what we eat. That's both a health mandate, and it supports what we're doing. And so in terms of agriculture, and so now, especially when imports are threatened and there are concerns with regards to that, we need to relook. St. Vincent is certainly leading the way, relooking at what we grow and how we use that to ensure food security during this time.
In terms of partnerships, besides Sagicor, there have been several private sector partnerships in response to our fights against COVID-19. Could you just highlight some of those, and how is the support being used?
Certainly. I already mentioned Sagicor. They've been a partner. I mentioned specifically their partnership with regards to supplies, health-related equipment and supplies. However, they have also been a partner with regards to education and communications. I mentioned the Massey stores, and they have been contributing to health supplies, specifically the need for ventilators and respirators that we need to ramp up. I would also mention here Digicel, that have pledged their support to us as well. And there are several, we've been in talks with several other companies. Lucia has been on board with us, Bank of St. Lucia, several private sector, regionally and even locally here in St. Lucia. And I would like to take the moment not only to really thank those partners who have come on board, but really, I mean, if you look around you, this is an all-of-society fight. As we really are one community, not just one community across the member states, but one community across the sectors, private sector, public sector, civil society, all government, all of society approach needs to be used for us to move things forward. And so I take the opportunity to say to the private sector out there, whatever business you're in, it may be transportation, it may be, wherever it is you sit, I think persons need to sit and think about how the resources they may not be using in this current time can be used to support our community response.
Most definitely. It's a fight that we're all in on this, Dr. Radix. Any final words, final thoughts from you at this time?
I would just say that we continue to support, we continue to be one community, that we should all work together. I reach out again to all the sectors, to all of our communities in the diaspora, and I say to persons, stay safe, follow the instructions, let's be each other's keepers, and let's try to get through this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carlene Radix, and you and your family, please remain safe as well. In a moment, we'll continue our conversation with Mrs. Donna Hinkson from Sagicor, but we're due for another break right now.
In a world where germs are widespread, comes a group of superhero germ busters, the germaphores.
We spend most of our time fighting germs, every day of the week. After I play, I wash my hands. Before I eat, I wash my hands. After I play with my puppy, I wash my hands. I cover my sneezes with my forearm or elbow when I am in public. And I cover my cough to avoid spreading dangerous germs. We are the germaphores, germ-busting superheroes. You can be too. Always wash your hands and cover your sneeze and cough. Let's stop the spread of menacing germs.
We'll be back, germaphores, with more powerful germs.
And we will be waiting to prevent you from spreading.
I want to thank many solutions who have come out and practiced the necessary social behavior. I see you. Many of us see you, and we applaud your efforts. Those who stayed in home, those who continue to protect their families, those of you who came out, and not only were you protecting yourself, but you were protecting everybody else. That's the spirit that makes St. Lucia. Sadly, some of us are still struggling with what is required. And I'm asking all of us, continue to remind those next to you that maybe are having a difficult time in understanding what's the required social behavior. Let's not criticize each other. That's not going to solve the problem. Let's help each other. Let's continue to be safe in St. Lucia, and let's continue to save lives.
We're back, and thanks for staying with us at the Information Command Center here at the studios of the Government Information Service. We have been speaking with Mrs. Donna Hinkson, Head of Sales, Sagicor Live EC Inc., the St. Lucia branch, And earlier on, we were speaking to Sagicor's COVID-19 response within the community. Just tell us a little more about what you guys are doing within our community.
Okay, Tony, as Dr. Radix of the OECS just confirmed, we have already provided a good percentage of the cost towards the purchase of thermometers for the Eastern Caribbean governments via the OECS Commission. These thermometers will assist in testing persons at the port of entries, well, that's closed now, and other places throughout the countries during this time, and you know, for other uses. In St. Lucia in particular, we have donated $10,000 to the Ministry of Health and Wellness through the National Telethon. Of course, that would be held in a couple of days.
So you guys already made your donation ahead of the
We have already
telethon.
done that.
Good stuff.
And of course, this will be used towards the support of the purchasing of personal protective equipment, because we're still very much at the first level,
Yes.
you know, response level for this COVID-19. So it would go towards that and towards supporting people on the front line generally. Again, today we have already donated over 6,000 EC dollars to local charities, including the St. Lucy's Home, the Marian Home, the Villa St. Joseph, Cornerstone House, and the Blind Welfare Association. And that is going to go, I think it's 6,000 US dollars. And that is going to go towards those charities to help them to take care of the basic needs of people in the community, the vulnerable groups. Yes, that is very, I think right now, this is where we need to be focused because, you know, if we can't keep the social balance, this is really just survival. We are really not thinking too much at the higher strategic level. I guess now that government has talked about the stimulus package, it has really just started that conversation, but now there's so many people out there, and we need to make sure that these people can eat every day. These people, you know, have the gear to protect them too. After all, you know, COVID-19 doesn't respect anyone, and we have to take care of our community. This is our vow, this is our vision, this is who we are as a people, Sagicor on the whole.
Because as you mentioned, I mean, this COVID-19 is not a respecter of persons. And also, as I've been saying on these programs, that we may not become infected, but all of us are going to be affected. And it's the responsibility of all of us to play our part. Also joining in the fight against spreading the COVID-19 message have been a number of regional as well as St. Lucian artists and personalities. Let's just take a listen now to an appeal from the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Promoters, appealing to persons to stay at home and practice the various protocols.
Greetings everyone. I hope this message meets you and yours in the best of health as we join in encouraging all to act responsibly.
COVID-19 presents the most serious
and deadly challenge
any of us will experience in our lifetimes.
We must act now.
We need to keep the Caribbean safe.
We can all help to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Please stay at home.
So Caribbean people, please stay home.
Caribbean people, please stay at home.
Please stay home. It's that simple. This too shall pass, but for now, stay home.
Stay in your yard. Stay home, stay safe.
In addition to that, our St. Lucian artists have also joined in the appeal. The Department of Health and Wellness and the CDF commissioned a song produced by Ronald Hinkson a few weeks ago. And this week, we saw the release of a Denry segment song called Bat Virus La, commissioned by the CDF and produced by VHL Productions. The producer joined us earlier this week for an interview where he talked about his music, the project, and how he has been dealing with the concept of social distancing and staying at home. We now bring you this interview.
I've worked with Freezy, Black Boy, Messi, Kuya, Ding Dong, what's his name again now? Bungie Garlin as well, and some other artists.
Okay, so you have been working with regional artists as well, not
Yes.
just St. Lucian artists?
Yes.
Okay, and where is your studio based?
My studio is based in Bexar.
Okay, just give me, for those of us, those persons who are viewing and listening, give us an idea of some of the bigger songs, the more popular songs that you have produced, or that have come out of your VHL production studios.
Well, I have some little local hits, you know, that I've produced, such as Anything Goes, you know.
So many of them you can't remember.
I cannot really name.
Yes. So most of Umpa's hits, you've done a number of songs with Umpa?
Well, I've done some songs with Umpa, but not majority of the hits that he have, you know.
Okay.
He have his personal producer as well, but we have worked in the past. I mainly work with Freezy, Kelly B, Kuya, as of now.
Okay.
So majority of the hit songs, I produce them.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff.
Yes.
Now, let's get down to the COVID-19 production that you just did.
Yeah.
You got a call. Who called you to put this thing together?
CDF called.
Okay, Cultural Development Foundation.
Yes, the Cultural Development Foundation. It was something that I had in mind already to actually do, but I was always watching it like it probably would be a little difficult to actually get the guys in studio, because I always like to, you know, do the recordings and everything from scratch. So when I got contacted by CDF about the project, I was like, okay, well, let me just, you know, proceed with it and stuff. So we spoke about it. They gave me the idea as to what they would want us to talk about and stuff like that. And they happened to give us the lyrics. But I told her, well, in order for it to be a real Denry segment, you would have to make us come up with the lyrics. We'll talk about the same thing, but you'd have to make us give it our own flavor.
Right.
Understand where I'm coming from? So it would be more
authentic.
Yeah, authentic, you know?
Yes.
So she told me, okay, just proceed. So I created the beat. I sent it to the guys. I told them, well, okay, I give them two options. I give them a fast, up-tempo one and a slow one. All of them chose the up-tempo one.
Okay.
And that was what I was more gravitating to, because, you know, I like that up-tempo vibe. So I sent it to them. It took a couple of days to actually get them to record on the end and stuff like that and send me the vocals, but finally we got it done. I mix it, master it and everything, try to make it sound as best as I could. As you know, I'm working from home and I'm not in my comfort zone, which is in the studio, so I had to try to make it work. And I sent it to her. And from the first draft, the reaction was just amazing. She liked it and everything. She sent it to her peers and stuff, and everybody was on board with it. There was just a little minor changes that had to be done, but then we worked quickly, so we could have get it out there. And yeah, that's how it was done.
Good stuff. Whose decision was it? I mean, we have so many Denry segment artists out there.
Right.
Whose choice was it, the artists that use Umpa, Freezy, Subbans, Mighty?
Right. So as you know, there's a lot of artists I could have chosen. I choose these guys because, one, Freezy have his own studio. He have the access to his own studio. Ampado as well. Subbans and Mighty is like a walk away to the studio.
Yes.
So I figure, okay, instead of me getting the guys that I know, it's not like it's impossible, but it would be a little difficult to actually get them in or to actually get them close to the studio. Let me get the guys who actually have these things in their reach.
Right.
So I made a few calls, I contact them and stuff, I explained to them what is it that we were doing and what is it that I would want from them and stuff like that. And then, I mean, everybody was on board from the jump, so it just kind of happened, you know, one time. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you still have to keep in mind the fact that COVID-19, the whole response and the whole social distancing, not only were you guys supposed to be singing about it, but also practicing what you're
exactly.
You're
preaching. So I had to make sure, so I had to make sure we took the necessary precautions so that we wouldn't, you know, be involved in, you know, the social distancing and the, you know, everything.
Right. Now, let me just change it a little bit now. I'm sure before all of this happened, you're already gearing up for your productions for Carnival and what have you. And then COVID-19 and everything everything just stopped. What was your reaction to that?
Well, last year we took Road Match with Call My Mother For Me.
Okay, that was you who produced that.
Right, and it was my intention to take it again this year.
Yeah, so your focus was
Road Match. My focus was Road Match.
What about Soca Monarch?
Well, Soca Monarch as well, but I'm more focused on the road because of the type of music I make, you know?
Yes.
Yes, so it's a major setback, I must say, because I already started working with some artists like Ambi, Bronx, you know, some other artists to try to work on some stuff, some content for the carnival. And I was like, wow, check out that happen, you know.
Yes,
and I imagine that they're listening to the songs and stuff, and I'm like, why? I say, despite of the disappointment, I mean, there's always a bright side that we cannot see, at least not now. So I say, well, you know what, everything happened for a reason. Again, it's for our own safety, our own, you understand? So, I mean, I agree with the decision that the government made and everything. So, and all I could say is that it would just give me more time to prepare for next year.
Certainly. And what a lot of people do not realize, they hear the music out there, they listen to it, some like it, some may not, but you guys do this for your living.
Right.
This is how you live every day.
Yeah.
And quite apart from producing the songs and having music out there, some of you actually do beats for like commercials or ads and what have you.
Right.
So you are being impacted financially.
Right, exactly. That's the financially, it's
not easy.
It's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy at all. But again, you just have to keep focused, keep your head high. And as I always tell myself, there's 100 ways to make money.
Right.
And not just that, but there's different
legally
ways.
That is.
Well, legally, yes, legally, yes. You know, there's different ways to get around with it, although it's difficult right now to actually do so and to actually, you know, do what I want to do to, you know, get them this that income.
Yes.
But I'm trying.
How did you decide? How did you get into music and production as a way to earn a living? Why did you choose that path?
Well, imagine, to be honest, I was studying architectural technology on the MON. And at that same time, I was doing my music. Now, it was a tough decision for me to make, and it was one that I had to really think about. And then the main thing was, would I be comfortable doing something that I love, or would I just be doing something that I can do? You understand? So that's why I made my decision. I'm like, okay, I would rather pursue something that I'm interested in, something that I like, something that I enjoy doing, something that I have a passion for, rather than for me doing something that, you know, I wanted to do, you know? So that was kind of the deal breaker. And I mean, a lot of people don't understand it because, you know, everybody's like, you know, you could have been making so much more money in this and that. But my thing is, everything takes time. You know, as much as I could have been making millions in the architectural firm and everything, I could still be making millions in my music. It's all about marketing and pushing yourself to actually make that money. You understand? So I believe, to me, I did not make a mistake.
In other words, you have not regretted.
I have not regretted, yes, not at all, not at all. I mean, the road has been a little difficult because we don't get schooled as to what we're supposed to be doing, the business part of the music and everything. It's something that we kind of have to learn on our own and through different experiences and stuff like that. I mean, I cannot go up the mountain for music.
Right. But you've attended a couple of the workshops.
Yes,
by the government,
yes.
Cultural Development Foundation.
Right. I've attended a couple of workshops. I've learned, every workshop that I attend, I learn something new.
Great stuff.
As much as majority of the stuff, I mean, I've been said before, there's always something new that you'd learn, or something you could take out of context and just, you know, use it.
Tweak it to suit
you. Right, exactly. So I haven't regretted any workshop that I've been to, any decisions that I've made, although there's some things that I could have done better, but, you know, it's a learning process, and I'm willing to learn. I mean, you're never too old to learn, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the whole COVID-19, how are you keeping busy, staying at home? Is it easy for you?
It's not, trust me, it's not easy. The worst thing about it, or the thing that hit me the hardest, when we just entered the quarantine phase, I had a creative block.
Okay.
Yeah, and all what I try to make beats, I try to mix songs I had there.
Was that because you were thinking about the whole situation, or what?
I'm not even sure, because I'm like, I was not that worried about it.
Okay.
But I'm like, I don't know if it's just the atmosphere on a whole, like the fact that, I mean, I wasn't watching, like, I cannot go nowhere, and most of the time I'm home, most of the time I'm in the studio. But my thing is, like, why? Like, I really did not know why I had that creative block. I mean, just recently, as of like last week or so, when I got the call to do the project and stuff, like, I kind of got the feel for it again, and I say, well, okay, let me just do it and stuff. And since then, I've been trying to make some beats, trying to stock up and stuff for, when this is all over with, hopefully I would have stuff waiting there for my artists and stuff like that. So, I mean...
So you're saying you've gone over that hurdle of that block?
A little bit, yeah.
You get in there?
Yeah.
But you don't have a problem per se staying at home?
I don't have a problem at all. And I thought I believe that was the main thing, because I go out a lot. I used to party a lot. I used to always be out and about, always in town, always here and there, always doing something. I used to always be that. So it was, I believe that was kind of one of the main factors why it probably, it was like a reality check.
Okay.
It's like I have to stay home now. I have to, isolate myself. I have to, try to cool out and the outing and stuff and going outside. For a day, I'll probably just step out in the balcony, take a little fresh air, but I'm inside, trust me. Okay. As well, in this current situation, we need to take the most precaution that we can. So we need to wash our hands, sanitize, keep that 6 feet distance, keep practice your social distancing, right, and just ensure that we isolate ourselves a little bit from the outside world, just so that we will not get, exposed to anything that was supposed to, anything that's supposed to get to us. Yes.
And that was an interview we did earlier on with producer Virgil Joseph from VHL Productions, talking about his own social distancing, staying at home, as well as the production of the song Bat Virus La, featuring several Denry segment artists. At this moment, we'd like to acknowledge those of you who have joined us online for your comments. Just to reiterate, someone was asking whether tomorrow, 24-hour curfew, tomorrow, Good Friday, is indeed a holiday. All business places are to remain closed, and we will be back to the 24-hour curfew tomorrow. So the police will be enforcing persons who are not supposed to be out there, except for essential workers, the nurses, doctors, the police, and what have you. All other persons are to remain indoors tomorrow, Good Friday. We now continue our conversation with Donna Hinkson, Head of Sales, Sagicor Life EC Inc., the St. Lucia branch. And Donna, just tell us about your client measures during this time when persons are at home, they cannot access the face-to-face interaction with your various reps and personnel.
Okay, Tony, that's a very good question. So we at Sagicor we have implemented a number of measures to help our clients through this period. And I know there are a lot of things our clients want to know. For example, under our health insurance claim, I know many people want to know, are we going to honor COVID-related medical issues? And I'm saying the answer is yes. We will honor your claims, whether they are COVID or not. Of course, we don't do testing for COVID-19, but we will honor your insurance claim. So if you're unsure about this, you can rest assured that your claims will be honored. And I would encourage you to call up your advisors. If you're having any doubt, if you're having any particular questions that you need answered, call your advisors, call any of us at Sagicor. We will be able to get you there. And I will give you some of our virtual contact numbers and platform in a little bit. Secondly, we are talking about our life insurance premiums. A lot of people want to know, will my premium be terminated during this period of hardship if I'm unemployed or if I'm laid off? Sagicor will keep all policies on the books. We will not terminate your policies for this period. In fact, we have given our policyholder an extra 30 days grace period. And you need to call your advisors. You need to find out, have a conversation with them. If you need further relief, you need to have this conversation. We will not terminate your policies at this time. We are extending a further grace period of 30 days. And where possible, contact Sagicor. I'm going to give you the online number in a bit. For residential and commercial mortgages clients, we have also instituted a deferred program that will allow you up to 3 months to pay your mortgage, or to defer payments of your mortgage. That would be your principal and interest. Again, we know that a lot of people are impacted at this time. A lot of people have reduced working hours. A lot of people, you know, call up your mortgage, your loans advisor, call up your loans officer, find out about our deferral program, and make sure that you are comfortable for the next 3 months or so. Our pension clients too, we have also taken on a decision to pay our pensions 2 months in advance. That's earlier, before they are due. And we really think that we needed to do that to give our elderly people a chance, give them some financial capacity to purchase their necessary supplies. We're talking about their medical supplies, their prescription drugs, especially at this time. We are also going to take claims for up to 3 months supply of prescription drugs. So you can buy 3 months supply of your prescription drugs now and send us those claims. We will honor them because we know this will alleviate a lot of the stress in terms of you getting out there now to stand on those lines and exposing yourself. We know COVID-19 and our elderly people, we need to take extra care of them. And this is one of the ways that Sagicor is showing our love and our appreciation for pensioners, so that we will take 3 months of your prescription drugs to allow you to a 3-month supply, so that you don't have to be out there at this time in this rush. We also created some premium payment options, and these include our online payment with SurePay. So SurePay is now online, and you can go on and you can pay your bills online using your debit or your credit card. We also have our banking partners, Republic Bank, CIB, First Caribbean International, and Royal Bank of Canada. These people will accept our payments, your premium payments, via debit and credit card. If you have any issues, if you have any concerns, if you have any payment queries, you can also call us at our contact center. Our contact center is fully operational from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Our number, we have a toll-free number, it's 1-800-744-7707. So you can reach us there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We also have our local number, which is 456-1700, or you can call any of the advisors you know. This is a small community. You must know a Sagicor advisor. That person doesn't have to be your advisor. Just reach out to them. I'm also giving you my number. It's 285-8961. You can call me, and I will be able to assist you. Now for our health claims, we are urging our clients to utilize the carry card swipe options that's offered by our health and medical service practitioners. Use that service when necessary. Of course, with your card, when you use that, it would allow you immediate processing of your claim, so you are not out of pocket for money. And in addition, our clients, we are encouraging our clients to submit those claims via electronic means. So you can just scan those claims clearly, make sure that everything is visible, send it up to us. You can also take a picture.
Are you doing both email and WhatsApp?
Yes, a picture, okay. WhatsApp it to us. Make sure it's clear. We need to understand what it is that you have on it, and you just send those things to us, post it up to us. And our email address, you need to take this down. It's EC, as in EC, local claims @sagicor.com. That is EC, LOCAL, CLAIMS, one word, @sagicor.com. So you write that down, send those claims to us, and we will take care of it.
Quite a bit of useful information, Donna. We're quickly running out of time. Maybe you could just wrap up. I know there's several persons you want to thank at this moment.
Yeah, I just want to stay tuned to our social media platforms. It's going to give you all the updates, all your payment options, everything you need to know about Sagicor. We're on Instagram. We have our webpage, sagicor.com. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. Just go on, look for us. Stay posted. More than that, I wanted to say a big thank you to the executive of Sagicor for continuing to be so proactive. I mean, Sagicor have both the customers and their clients at heart. And we really want to thank you for that. I want to hail out my hard-working team, my sales and admin and corporate department. I also want to say a special thank you to the executive. I have to mention Mr. Ravi Rambaran, the CEO Sagicor Financial Company Limited, Mr. Donald Austin, our CEO Sagicor Life EC Limited, Mr. Trevor Vigo, who's the head of sales in the Eastern Caribbean and the COO, and Mr. Eon Phillips. Mr. Eon Phillips is our branch manager at Sagicor in St. Lucia. Very instrumental in all of this happening. And we want to say thanks to that team who continue to look out for the people and for the client. And I want to say to St. Lucia, be safe, practice the protocol. I wanted to say a special thank you to our essential services workers, our nurses, our doctors, our people out there on the front line, our police officers, fire services, the supermarkets. I mean, it is crazy out there, but you got to understand COVID-900 is a serious thing. You got to protect yourself. You're as good as your neighbors. Look out for your neighbors. Look out for your next door, your best friends. If each and every one of us look out for the people around us, I am sure that we can fight this thing together. Listen attentively to information provided by the government. Visit the website and stay safe.
Thank you very much for that, Donna. And thanks to Sagicor for your valuable input and your contribution. Well, that's my time for today. Thank you for joining me. Continue to stay at home if you have no business on the outside. Take heed of all the protocols, and remember, you're not in this alone. As together, if we do what is necessary, we can come out victorious, stronger, and better. Stay safe, my St. Lucian people, and remember that this too shall pass.
Pas toucher bouchou, pas toucher zio, oueste caillou, ma web yo, protect tes familles, quand ça caille trop, ou pas qu'attendre, police caille bao.
Couvez bouchou avant pousser, avant oueste et moucher, lavez les mots et savon.